We are back, folks. It is the fun half. The number is 646-257-3920. I just opened up the phone lines. JR in Philly says, I don't know who this guest is because I just joined, but I'm getting strong Michael Brooks flashbacks from the humor and moral clarity.
Oh, Michael would like that.
That's very sweet. I'm a, I guess I'm a fan of Van's show independent of politics, but it was interesting to, see that he watches our stuff, and it was a good collaboration. So I'm happy we were able to do that.
Yeah, I knew him through, he's on Bill Simmons' podcast every once in a while.
Yeah, The Ringer has like kind of a whole universe of people there. Dick Cheney, as Brad said, Republicans in the terminal case in 2016 after Obama and Jeb Bush tanking the polls, so they had to follow the populace. The current Dems case looks equally terminal. Well, we'll have to see. DSA Aaron in Atlanta says, I love Van. He's such a great guy with great takes. He's the man. He totally is. Jay Tingle loved the collab.
Was DSA Aaron, not DSA Josh? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. DSA Aaron.
Hey, DSA Josh, you're unhinged. And guess what?
Okay. Yeah, it was okay.
Oh, sorry. Don't want to hear.
You want for DSA Aaron?
Greg from Arkansas. Majority Report is the actual Everything app. Yes. Cole from Michigan. Weren't we told in 2020 that the base of the Dem Party were older black women in the South? Well, I mean, I think that is a significant voting block for the Democratic Party. And that was some of the tension that Van was speaking to about, trying to get significant bases of the party on board with more progressive policy priorities when they're more used to like it coming, or they've trusted Hillary Clinton for a long period of time. And, I don't know how best to bridge that gap, but that's something I definitely am keeping in mind myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just like black voters in South Carolina. Democratic primary voters in general are fairly stupid, honestly, picking like Latimer over Bowman, Wesley Bell over Bush. They can be manipulated by propaganda to support centrist neoliberals that love Israel. Yeah. It's a big problem going forward.
The primary voters for Democrats are a problem. Like, I mean, I know we all are a part of it, but they are I think they hurt the party's viability outside of the primary because of the candidates that they select.
We had primaries that selected, and it was, again, with major cues from the top, like Clyburn and Obama, but that were ready to take those cues and support Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton. And they're more or less, it's media.
Right. Jay Tingle says, how is it possible not to see Anne Frank and the little girl who took her own life? Yeah, I mean, Indiana John, I think leftists trying to be so accurate with our language is not helpful here. He's doing dictatorship things, so we need to just call him one. People like Jon Stewart need to stop policing the language because it only lulls people into a false sense of comfort. I saw he was getting some pushback for that. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is like he's literally dictating the budget and how it goes out
illegally
above the Congress. Like it's just a dictatorship. Not whether he has complete control of the entire government apparatus. I mean, that's something to, I think aspire to, but it's probably fairly difficult to achieve.
Yeah. Jim in PDX, Mike is the man. Thank you for having him on MR. My two favorite shows collide. That was the hope.
Also, when FDR was talking about like packing the court and stuff like that, some of those were bordering on dictatorial. And the thing is that when you do dictator stuff in support of the everyday people, particularly workers, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not somebody who's gonna clutch my pearls over FDR's actions there. The reality is I'm not an institutionalist, and I think sometimes the Democrats are way too institutional, hamstringing themselves from just delivering. I mean, Trump is showing what is possible in a far right, kleptocratic way, but he's also showing what is possible and what the Democrats have consistently told us is impossible with the executive branch.
What president suspended habeas corpus?
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln.
Right. All right, let's take a quick call here. Calling from a 413 area code. Who's this? Where you calling from? 413. 413. Going once. Oh, 413. 413. Dude.
All right, no.
All right, sorry.
No.
Calling from a 904 area code. Who's this? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Nora. I'm calling from Austin, Texas.
Nora
and
from Austin.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
First of all, left is best. Love y'all, obviously. But I just thought y'all would like to know that Tim Pool sponsors a NASCAR, and I think it's the D Series. My partner actually knows more about this, but he couldn't call in. And it crashed.
What? His NASCAR?
Yeah.
Tim, I'm going to Google.
NASCAR
Tim Pool
crashed.
NASCAR.
Mhm.
Wow.
It's a stock car. It's like one of the lower, less known series of NASCAR, from what I understand. But yeah, I just thought that Fun Friday might cheer y'all up a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at it now. It has timcast.com on the side. Can we pull up this race car, Bradley? You can find
all
it.
big on the side.
So it crashed? What
Is it
happened?
this Corey Dennison guy, or is it
It
different?
crashed, and it took out 4 other cars with it.
Oh my
I believe
goodness.
in the footage. Yeah, and really early on in the race too.
All right, here it is. Timcast.com on the side. News, politics, culture. This is the crash photo.
See if we can find some moving images of that.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if we can play it, but that's very funny to hear. Thank you. He really, he's approaching 40, but is very into skateboarding and cars. Was that a Bugatti?
Toys.
That was not a Bugatti. Also, none of you saw anybody who looked anything like Sam Seder in the pit crew area.
And then I was wondering real quick if I could get a little celebratory horn. My partner and I are going to look at engagement rings this weekend.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations on your pending engagement, and the fact that you're talking about it means you're in a reciprocal relationship. It's not just being sprung on you.
He's
here we
a
go.
great man. Shout out Indy.
Shofar. Congrats.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, really appreciate that fun news to get today. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Maybe a loose lug nut.
Sam wearing a beanie to switch out the tires. Noel from San Francisco said, turns out the tires were bald, but they tried to hide it. Kami Tree says TMR.
You are having an emotional breakdown right now.
TMR using the D tier NASCAR crash filters, shaking my head.
You can't even make an argument anymore, can you?
Company Town, I love Van Lathan's point about sniping back at these people. I think taking dipshits seriously enough to engage with their dipshittery just validates them. You don't need to explain why 2 + 2 = 5 is wrong, and doing so over and over again is a waste of time, at least outside of a first grade classroom. It's also giving into what they want, which is they know that they're saying something that's incorrect, but they are trying to, they get off on the fact that they can misdirect you.
And force people to listen to it as if it's serious.
Right. And we're kind of at the apex of that right now, I would say, with the Trump movement and the tech guys who think that they can make their own reality through might and through money. But speaking of those tech guys, here we go. Elon Musk slurring his words, wearing very big sunglasses that he thinks look cool at CPAC.
His dilated pupils think look cool also, I'll probably say.
Yeah, take them off. Let's see what's going on with those eyes there, buddy.
It's like
I mean,
me after I got my eyes tested.
Yeah. Maybe it's like you after a college party or something like that. It seems like he's in this permanent dream-like state. It's very well publicized that he loves a good bag of ketamine, and apparently it's medicinal, according to reporting.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But whatever it is, it's got him acting really stupid. Here he is on stage at CPAC with a big prop. Big boy gets big prop.
Why don't we bring him out? Yeah.
Oh yes, Javier Milei brings it out to him. Right, the Argentinian president, who definitely has not had sex with his sister. Don't Google it.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
We see it's a chainsaw. You don't need to say it.
That's brilliant.
Bye, Javier.
All right.
I love it. Mr. President, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Nice to meet you.
All right, we got it. I don't care anymore. Okay. Isn't Javier Milei in the midst of a crypto scam?
Yeah, I'm looking for a good part of this CoffeeZilla video. Basically, some of the same pump and dumpers who helped Melania coin make a bunch of people a bag quickly before that died were behind this Milei thing too. So now they want to impeach him. It's a country that's had currency issues, and Milei said, "Oh, this is a good way to reinvest in the country and help us grow." And then a few hours later, he's like, "Actually, I have nothing to do with this, and I was tweeting that from my private account."
Yep. And I mean, this was from 2 months ago, but it's now before Javier Milei drastically cut spending, which is the model that Elon Musk is trying to replicate here in the United States. Argentina still had a very impoverished population. The poverty rate was around 41.7% in the second half of 2023. He implements his austerity measures, a double-digit increase. 53% of Argentina's 45 million people are living in poverty, a 2-decade high after what he has implemented. And this is the vision that Elon Musk has for our federal government. Gutting the administrative state, more increasingly incorporating crypto into our federal financial systems and artificial intelligence. And I mean, this is like lunatic anarcho-capitalism craziness. And so it's not a mistake that he's out there on stage with that guy really feeling himself. But maybe he had some stuff to say, you know, articulately in this interview. What should we go with here first, Bradley?
Can we just see what he says when he sits down? This is the first foray, and then we can.
Oh, great! So it starts immediately.
Yes, this is the beginning right here as they sit down.
So,
That was something.
I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much. I'm living the meme. It's like there's living the dream and there's living the meme, and it's pretty much what's happening, you know.
You're like, I think you're bigger.
I mean, Doge started out as a meme. Think about it.
Yeah,
And now it's real. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
But it's cool.
So while he's doing this, I am become meme. His one of the women that he had a child with is publicly begging
he mailed his sperm to.
Right. Yeah. Had a child with in a scientific way.
Scientific way. All of his kids are done through the miracle of science and not the time-honored tradition of having sex.
Has anyone asked this man if is Elon a virgin?
He could be
a virgin.
A multiple father of like a dozen people and be a virgin.
I mean, he's about spreading his DNA everywhere, but it doesn't seem like he's that interested in intimacy or even capable of it. Grimes, the singer who was with him for a while, please respond about our child's medical crisis. I am sorry to do this publicly, but it is no longer acceptable to ignore the situation. This requires immediate attention. If you don't want to talk to me, can you please designate or hire someone who can,
like a normal dad would have.
Yeah, then we can move forward on solving this. This is urgent, Elon. Their child is having apparently a health crisis, but he can't even pick up the phone to get his assistant to help with that. He's busy with the chainsaw prop and the fat bag. I'm not giving any details, but he won't respond to texts, calls, or emails and has skipped every meeting, and our child will suffer lifelong impairment if he doesn't respond ASAP, so I need him to effing respond. And if I have to apply public pressure, then I guess that's where we're at. I mean, but the guy is dedicated to gutting the administrative state to make more money. I mean, he could be going to parties, as he's telling right-wing media. It's a little hard for me to believe. He could be going to parties, but he's so dedicated to making more money for himself to become the world's first trillionaire that, what do you know? You've got to admire his work ethic, working with the Doge gripers at the Treasury. But he also decided to weigh in on comedy.
Just one more note on the child thing. I think people don't understand that Elon Musk he's less of, with regard to his trans daughter that sort of helped him set the spiral. That's not him being a disappointed father or disappointed bigot father. That's him being an unsatisfied customer. These kids that he has are, which is not to say like all IVF is serious, but when billionaires are doing IVF with multiple women who they barely know, how are people not like
family values?
Like, what the hell is going on?
Like, I mean,
he's like a bad behaving maternity clinic owner or something like that.
Family values was screamed at us for a great majority of our life as being a Republican value, and this guy is just spreading his sperm around because he has this natalist fantasy about
ordering boys exclusively.
Right.
Weird, man.
It's super weird to view procreation like this. I'm sorry. I mean, the guy's got many issues.
I mean, I know he looks like a normal guy. Look at him.
I mean, looks are deceiving, but this guy's a little bit crazy. Although he's got taste and culture. I mean, we know he loves a good old 4-year-old meme. I become meme. And here he is, becoming a comedian. I mean, after getting booed off the stage at Dave Chappelle's show. So sad. He's dipping his toe back into the wonders of comedy.
So, I mean, we're trying to get good things done, but also, have a good time doing it, and, and have, a sense of humor, So, I mean, the left wanted to make comedy illegal, Like, you can't make fun of anything. So then it was comedy sucks. God. It's like, nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's like, legalize comedy. Yeah. Legalize comedy.
And we've shifted the entire culture in just the last few months. The whole.
I love this suit trying to wrangle this guy in.
What's Tony Hinchcliffe? I love that all these comedians have to be nice to this guy. Up to Dave Chappelle, apparently. I mean, can we get that one more time of him saying, I've never seen somebody so clearly geeked up. And we just watched Milo videos.
Yeah. I mean, also wearing sunglasses in those exchanges.
And, and have a sense of humor,
So funny.
I mean, the left wanted to make comedy illegal, Like, you can't make fun of anything. So then it's like, comedy sucks. It's like, nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's like, legalize comedy.
It's like...
Yeah. Legalize comedy.
This represents
we've shifted the entire culture.
I feel represented.
It's a little hard to say this when, all of the upcoming comedians who are exciting, even the legacy guys like Bill Burr is saying Free Luigi on ABC, actually pushing boundaries and saying things that might get him in trouble. Saying Free Luigi on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, you may not get invited back, but what these guys think is comedy is getting to say the R word on Twitter, which every one of these little Elon Musk fans is so thrilled that they get to do. I mean, this is when we talk about material benefits provided to you by the government. If you vote for Democrats, your Social Security will be protected, your Medicare, your Medicaid, maybe you'll get some money back from the CFPB. And if we elect a progressive Democrat or a leftist, maybe we'll get Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness. Those are the material benefits you get for voting for Democrats. If you vote for Republicans, I guess you get the ability to say slurs again. So there's material benefits on both sides.
You get to watch Kill Tony.
Here he is, by the way, getting booed. This is when he attempted comedy last. Let's see.
This apparently almost necessitated a wellness check for him. He was so distraught by how badly this turned out, and it's a shame that
he should try comedy again. He should
try
comedy again, even if that created a wellness check for him and he had to go to the hospital. I want him to put out a comedy special live.
Give us 20 minutes. We won't say an hour.
Yeah, open mic. And then however the public reacts to it will be, it's almost like it's like democracy in action. If the public doesn't think it's good, then you have to go away forever.
Prove that comedy is legal again, Elon.
I don't want to hurt you. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the richest man in the world. Cheers and booze, I see. Elon. Hey, Dave.
Oh my God, it's still going.
Weren't expecting this, were you? It sounds like some of them people you fired are in the audience.
This was after the Twitter layoffs, which is what he's trying to do right now with the federal workforce.
Funny joke, Dave.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have brought
Yikes. Anonymous. Musk sounds a lot like Ann Coulter. She also thinks she's funny, and she is not. Dave from regular Estonia. Just tuning in. Sorry, I missed the show. Why did you have George Carlin on? Thought I just heard him. Get your ears checked, Lilo, I think. Draw Nathan says, legalize comedy. Let me show my chicken dick on Saturday Night Live. Desert Lefty. Elon wants to have a baseball team all to himself. They can even go pro since he's planning on bringing back segregated leagues. Jerry at the beach. Really hard to believe that isn't Tim Heidecker. CPG. Elon's a more pathetic Kendall Roy, and that says a lot. Yes, 100%. Kendall's more competent.
By the way, do you want to just watch a little section from this CoffeeZilla video on the Milei Bitcoin thing? Here's just a little section. I mean, this CoffeeZilla sort of had the inside track on this, including talking to one of the main culprits, getting him to admit some stuff. But this is just a little section he did on Milei's involvement.
Will disproportionately benefit insiders who know the timing. And what about Javier Milei? Can't forget about him. The president of Argentina is currently facing charges of fraud from the opposition party and threats of impeachment. Today, Milei finally addressed the Libra token and said the following.
Falso, yo difundí. I broadcasted it, I didn't recommend it, I didn't promote it. The reality is if you go to the casino and lose money, what is the claim? It is about 5,000 people. And surely the chance that they are Argentinians is very remote.
Argentinos es muy, muy remota. Well, there you go. Pretty much your standard denial. I didn't do it. And if I did, they deserved it. And if they didn't deserve it, well, they weren't Argentinian anyways. One thing I will be clear about, though, is that all of the insiders I've spoken to.
So there you go. I can't wait for America to become just like that place.
And again, like, you look at this guy and it's like, yeah. What did you expect?
Right.
What do we expect from these people empowering these psychos? And again, like the phrase is anarcho-capitalists. Like these are Milei's on the anarcho side of things.
Yeah.
And Musk on the capitalist side of things. Like this is the type of idiocy. It cannot produce anything but this.
Yeah. There's no value for it. You know, when you ask somebody who's a crypto bug, what the value is for crypto outside of just speculation, they will say that it's rare. Or like that certain tokens are rare. I'm like, that's not value. What are you talking about? That's just restating what you already said was your premise, which is that this is to get people rich and to speculate. There's no value. It's actually a drain because the amount of power that's needed to produce is like extremely harmful to the environment.
But it's like auctioneering almost. It's literally like hunting for gold.
Yeah.
Even like Topps Chrome, the cards. It's like when they make a Grant Hill rookie card back in the 90s, they weren't like to say that's creating value. No, Grant Hill and his performance is what that value is tied to. You've commodified attention toward that player.
Right.
Like that's all you've done. Congratulations with like, but even that's a limited run card as opposed to crypto, which I guess is technically.
And at least it has an assignation towards something or someone with value, in the sense of like it represents Grant Hill's play.
Be careful, because like Scottie Pippen's doing crypto stuff now too. So like,
but I guess maybe that is potentially the assignation too now. Is like maybe crypto can have now the celebritizing effect of
that's why Creative Arts agency got all their celebrities to drop a meme coin 2 years ago.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, there you have it, folks. That was Elon's appearance at CPAC. He did a good job. He did a great job. Jody from Chicago, did you guys see Pritzker's State of State speech? It was pretty badass. Like, when he told the story of the Illinois Nazis, I cried, not gonna lie. I did see clips of it. You know, I'm trying to rein myself in from like talking about 2028 and potential candidates. I think Pritzker's a very strong candidate. But I'm wary of promoting him without knowing what his national platform is. He's done a very good job in Illinois, and that speech was quite good. But I'm not gonna, I want to wait and see a little bit more. I'm gonna basically kind of put AOC as my placeholder because her politics, what we know, are the best of the potential really front runners in 2028. Pritzker, I'm optimistic about, but remains to be seen. His speech was good though, and he's doing a good job actually going at Trump.
Yeah, I think keep it up is the advice to any politicians doing good stuff right now. Greg Casar, new leader of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, because Jayapal did the right thing that party leaders should do after a loss and resigned.
Or she implemented term limits.
Yeah, I mean, great.
Yeah.
But Casar's out there going after a death, I believe, of an electrician who's contracted for Musk's properties. Oh yeah, here.
Yes.
This is exactly, because this hits everything.
Yep.
Here.
Casar should introduce a bill with this man's name. I'm not joking. Like the Lake and Riley thing. Do it on our side.
Casar writes, an electrician's death cannot be ignored simply because the CEO he was working for is Elon Musk. I'm demanding the release of the results of the investigation into the death of Victor Joe Gomez Sr., who was electrocuted by working at Elon's gigafactory in my district.
Can we click on that link? I want to see a little bit more about this story. Okay, Tesla death. Cited by U.S. Regulators over workers' death. Reuters reports federal regulators have cited Tesla for violating workplace safety rules in connection with the electrocution of a worker last summer at its Austin, Texas auto manufacturing plant. By the way, Casar represents the Austin area. The U.S. Department of Labor confirmed the findings in a statement to Reuters. The investigation is closed and citations have been issued. The Labor Department said the matter was concluded in late January. Interesting. I would wonder how late in January. Did Donald Trump get into office at that point? Musk, who spent more than $250 million to elect Trump, now steers a newly created Department of Government Efficiency, blah, blah, blah. Okay. There it is. Here are the details. OSHA launched the investigation immediately after the August 1st death of Victor Gomez Sr., an electrician working as a contractor at the Tesla plant in Texas, according to OSHA records and a wrongful death lawsuit filed against Tesla by Gomez's family. Gomez was killed while inspecting electrical panels at the site, according to the suit. The lawsuit alleges negligence and argues that the panel was supposed to be inactive, but had already been powered up, resulting in Gomez's electrocution. Musk, Tesla did not respond to requests for comment. So Casar is all over it here. I mean...
And that's just like one example. Also, in Arizona, a woman was hit by a Tesla doing full self-driving. That was investigation under National Highway Transportation Safety Agency, I believe, NHTSA. We of course it's been emphasized, but that is such a huge part of this. Like the whole thing, Elon said, well, if there's conflicts of interest, I'll excuse myself. Everything he does has a conflict.
Yeah. He's also like the valuation of his companies has increased by billions since Trump won. I mean, that's a big part of it too. He's trying to make that permanent.
Because that's a signal to investors. Oh, this guy's got the inside track.
Exactly. So, all right, let's take one more call, and then I think that's it, and then we're just going to go through some clips here, guys. But wanted to make sure we open up the phone lines a little bit. Calling from a 631 area code. Who's this? Where you calling from? 631. 631.
Hey, is this me?
This is you.
Hello.
You're the final caller of the day and the week.
Oh. Okay. So, I Kyle from Long Island. I'm a physics major at grad student now at Stony Brook University.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
Kyle from Long Island, Stony Brook, physics major.
Yeah, so PhD student actually. You sang from being English.
Sorry, can you just talk up a little bit? It's hard for me to hear you if
sorry.
you don't mind just speaking a little more loudly.
Sorry, is this better?
Yep.
Okay, holding it a little closer. But not sure if you guys had a chance to cover the stuff RFK Jr. is apparently saying about cell phones. Do you think they cause cancer or something?
I'm sure he does think that, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you haven't had a chance to. So I just figured you'd mention that this it is so insane. It's this whole thing that people have been thinking with cell phones, or the 5G and COVID and all those things. It's technically radiation from a physics standpoint, but it's radio waves.
Right.
Same.
It's not the right kind of radiation. It's is it non-ionizing? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, it's very much non-ionizing. So for the electromagnetic spectrum, light, you have at the very low energy end radio waves. Microwaves are in the sort of in around the radio waves, and then you get infrared, then visible light. So the stuff coming out of your light bulb, infrared, by the way, stuff that everything around you is giving off from black body radiation just because of its temperature. So you're surrounded by that, not to mention visible light.
Right.
And this is all higher energy than radio waves, the stuff cell phones use. On top, higher than that, you go up where you get ultraviolet. Going in the ultraviolet spectrum is where you have the transition to ionizing radiation, which is what has enough energy to actually be absorbed by a molecule and cause a chemical change in it, which can then eventually damage DNA or some protein or whatever, causing cancer.
Right.
So that's it is so far from the truth. It's insane.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
It's been a pet peeve of mine for a while that people think, oh, it is the radiation. No, it can't do anything. There's not enough energy in it.
Yep. I know. I mean, that's yeah, it's frustrating. Appreciate the call.
Yeah. I got a question. How have your colleagues sort of in physics reacted to this?
So I saw this from a Facebook post from another person in physics about just how effing stupid it is that RFK is saying this stuff and how there is no evidence for it. So that's kind of the reaction from physicists to that.
Yeah.
But
gotcha.
I mean, more broadly, we're the reaction to this administration, I think, is in line with what you'd find anywhere else in the sciences, that they're potentially cutting a lot of our budgets. Word is they cut the research experience for undergraduates, REU program. From what I've heard, they're getting canceled all over the country.
Yeah.
Because the NSF funding is getting pulled.
I've heard that too. Yep.
And yeah, it's insane. One of the comments I saw from one of some physics men talking about is how are they going to get people from the U.S. go into these jobs in tech without investing in education in this area? Yeah, it's the REUs are not just for physics; they're for any of the sciences at the very least. So computer science, biology, chemistry. They're people working in whether it's in universities or national labs for summer projects to start getting involved in research. It's a very important part of the stepping stone to then doing PhD research later on down the road. I had a project I was involved with in undergrad. Did a senior thesis on it. So, bachelor's thesis.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much.
Then that's what led to me helping get into grad school and stuff. So
yeah, it's a all-out attack on the academia, and we already are so lagging behind, like, say, China in certain, like, technological and scientific areas where we just our most lucrative jobs are in finance, and there's a brain drain, and that's where some of these more mathematically minded people will go, which makes no sense for, like, actually making a country, I don't know, sustain itself.
Yeah, my advisors
appreciate the call.
about that on.
Thanks so much.
When Bernie was mentioned.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's do some more clips. Just want to make sure we get some clips while we're at it. Let's just play this because this is rare good news. We headlined this, but after nearly 50 years in prison, Leonard Peltier has been freed. And here he is speaking to supporters in North Dakota. He was locked up on trumped-up charges where he was accused of killing and convicted of killing 2 FBI agents. And there is a lot of evidence that suggests that he did not commit this, and that he was essentially framed, and he's maintained his innocence throughout. Biden basically commuted his sentence, so he's not pardoned. I mean, but he's basically been able to leave lockup and spend the rest of his days, hopefully, with his family. Here he is speaking after returning home.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't think I was going to make it. I'm proud of the positions I've taken to help fight for our rights, the survival. I was 13 years old in 1958 when they came to Turtle Mountains here, and they said that we got to be terminated. They were the second reservation controlling for termination. The Menominee were the first one. I can honestly, happily, and proudly say I was at those demonstrations. I was supposed to be there. My dad didn't want me to be there, but I went anyway. And we stopped termination here for the Turtle Mountain Chipboard. I'm so proud of the showing and support you've given me. I got a hard time keeping myself from crying. I'm actually a stand believer that a strong warrior can't be up there crying in front of his people, so I'm not going to cry. I want to say thank you very, very much for showing me this support. It was surprising. I was full of shock. It was surprising to see all of these lined up there, welcoming me home. I was June 10th. I went before the parole board, and he gave me a death sentence. 15-year hit. Me years old, coming to do 15 more years without the medical treatments I need. They treated me like shit, man. They sentenced me to a sensory deprivation cell. I don't know if you guys know what that is. This total darkness. I was supposed to die in that cell. But the Supreme Court saved me and said, you can't do that. He's already been sentenced by the courts. And by the way, that sensory deprivation cells is illegal. And they tried all kinds of different things. But I beat them. I beat the bastards. Another thing I did was I made sure all Indian issues was the top subject in all my protests and all my activism to bring these issues to light to around the world. And I was pretty lucky from that. I want to also mention that from the day one, from the first hour I was arrested, Indian people came to my rescue from all over the country, especially the United States, and they've been behind me ever since. I mean, I got something like 800 tribes, I believe, 800 tribes that support. So that's a big, that makes me feel good, man. I just make me feel good.
Well, I think that's good. We got a good amount of his remarks there, which were awesome. And
he looks better than what I was expected, given the type of conditions that he's been subjected to by a torturous government.
Right. And, you know, this was how many acts, you know, movements of resistance were silenced, framed. The FBI did this to black activists. Also here, clearly, they did it to indigenous activists. Christopher Wray called him a remorseless killer and was saying how the Biden administration should not commute his sentence. That if that gives you any indication of how the FBI is going to close ranks around that kind of unfair sentence, just because they want to be able to say that they got the person that killed these two FBI agents, even though that clearly wasn't the case, or because they want to maintain this kind of position where they are a force that undercuts resistance movements throughout the country. But either way, at least Leonard Peltier, who had 49 years of his life taken away from him by our government, will be able to has been able to return home.
And just in case folks get the wrong message that this sort of thing is done with, the Dakota Access Pipeline protests that Emma was in North Dakota for, a woman named Red Fawn Fallis, Fallis, was charged with possession of a firearm that was planted on her by an FBI informant who seduced her romantically to get close to her.
Exactly. That was when we were at those protests, widely discussed almost every day that there was likely FBI presence there. And as a member of the media, even though obviously I was sympathetic and pro these water protectors protesting, we were still treated with immense suspicion for that very reason. And that is why protest movements treat outsiders like that, because of exactly what happens. Steve Austin, can you guys get in touch with Brandon and find out if his coworkers are still employed? I'm not sure who you're referring to. Jody from Chicago, I had a dream that Tim Pool became Trump's press secretary. If that happened, could he still wear a beanie? I'm not sure. Adam, I love that you had...
too much work for Tim Pool. He's too lazy to do that.
Right. I love that you had Van Lathan on his show. I love when Van makes Bill Simmons uncomfortable on the rewatchables by talking badly about rich people. It's pretty great.
That's the thing, is like, people love to make fun of a lot of things Bill Simmons says, and there's a lot of like, you know, what do you do? Like the Nick Young meme with it. But there are certain guests that I think make him, for at least my part, you know, fun to listen to, and Van is definitely one of them.
I agree. And, you know, he still has those folks. I mean, that's still his company, right? He got rich selling it to Spotify.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Dick Cheney, as Brad says, Pritzker's gotten big Illinois industry Republicans to come play ball, which is a big deal with Illinois' history of corruption. He's got the skills, but maybe not the charisma. AOC or Fain could balance that. Old Chomsky, wondering how you all navigate relationships you have with ardent supporters of Israel. Got into a massive fight with someone very close to me who's been thoroughly propagandized by Israeli supporters and Israeli talking points. I thought I had a handle on this, but it keeps happening, and I don't know how to talk about it without being very upset. I mean, this was a really, really massive problem for me. Basically, after October 7th, for 6 or so months, you know, people very close to me just didn't speak to me. So now they're kind of over it. I mean, it's become an undeniable reality. If this person in your life is still defending Israel, I don't really know what to tell you.
That's the thing, is there's two different kind of scenarios that I've experienced. One is the person initially willing to sort of back Israel and then becoming more and more quiet as they realize what's happening.
Yeah.
That's probably majority of Zionists in the past year. So that there's one in particular who was a close friend of mine who did a little bit of the silence for a while, but is now back on the look at Hamas baby killers sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, there's that friendship is just not one that I could bridge.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this reporting center spot. The leaflets Israel's dropping on Gaza are horrifying. I'd only seen Middle East Eye reporting that, so I was waiting to headline it, but it was basically in Arabic, bunch of threats that they are dropping. They're using any excuse to break the ceasefire. But let's do another.
They think violence is ultimately an answer to the problem they have.
Yep, they want to be doing more violence, and the polling within Israel reflects that. 7 in 10 Jewish Israelis polled by Tel Aviv, or the University of Tel Aviv, about a month ago, said that they supported Donald Trump's ethnic cleansing plan. So.
And there's never been any indication that the population in Israel would think any other way about it. It's a genocidal population.
Oh, Steve Austin said Brendan, who used to work on the show.
Oh,
okay, it's spelled a little differently but isn't he working on government medical policy? Yes, thank you. Appreciate you spelled it like a mix of Brandon and Brendan. So, or maybe that's how you. No, that's not how you spell it.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. We should text him. Cole from Michigan, don't you have to admit guilt to be pardoned? Heard that once. Maybe that's why Peltier was commuted. That might be why.
I don't know if that's even true.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, Fauci didn't have to admit guilt for nothing. Biden pardoned him.
Oh, that's true. Maybe it's because he wasn't charged with anything, so it was a pre-pardon. I don't really know.
What I will say is it's very hard for me to, and I think Kash Patel is a Nazi and is going to abuse his power day one and then every day after that. The FBI is a hard group to be sympathetic for. Now, of the people I'm sympathetic to, it's probably the ones who had a good faith investigation into Jan 6th.
Yeah.
But, I mean, good Lord, that institution.
Right. Let's just end here because this is important. We'll do 13. So I mentioned, right now there is a measles outbreak in West Texas that keeps getting worse. And it's spreading into New Mexico. And in this area of Texas, there is a very low vaccination rate. This is the result of increased anti-vaccine sentiment that is at a fever pitch right now and has been since the pandemic, creating a political movement strong enough that it is now kind of incorporated into MAGA. Maha is a part of MAGA, and RFK Jr. is Health and Human Services Secretary. As insane as that sentence is to say out loud, and I surprise myself as I say it out loud at how much it freaks me out, that's the case. So Pamela Brown had one of the RFK Jr.'s advisors on to talk about what's happening right now in Texas with this measles outbreak. And right now, the CDC just paused a meeting that they were supposed to have on the issue of vaccines, just delaying it indefinitely under RFK's leadership as Health and Human Services Secretary. They have stopped advertising for folks to get the flu vaccine as we're in the middle of one of the worst flu seasons. It's a mess. And there's also bird flu right now that has the capacity potentially to cross over to humans. And Elon Musk's Doge cut all those people, then realized what they had done because they just basically clicked Control F in a document and then pressed delete. And then realized, oh, these are the folks working on the bird flu that's making the egg prices go up, which Donald Trump said he wanted to bring down. Okay, can we hire you guys back, please? Civil servants, can you please come back? It's a disaster, and we're going to get 4 years of this. Here's one of RFK Jr.'s advisors talking about this measles outbreak.
And just be clear, these are two separate issues. There's vaccines, which are proven safe and effective, and we're going to talk more about that. But then there's the issue of chronic disease caused by, you know, the food that we're consuming, processed food, and all of that, which, as you both agree on, that needs to be dealt with. That needs to be a priority, of course, which is why, in many ways, RFK Jr. has gained so much popularity among many Americans on that issue. But I want to go to you, Callie, to respond. And also, you know, with this measles threat, is it now a time to promote vaccines, which, again, the CDC says safe, effective, that 2 doses are 90% effective against measles? Is it now a time to promote that, especially among children who are being impacted by measles in places like Texas and in these 6 states who are unvaccinated, according to health officials?
Pamela, with respect, why aren't you asking me about the fact that 50% of teens have obesity? Why aren't there are
I have other questions for you, but we're talking about this.
Day after day after day, Pamela. It's breathless coverage of 5 measles cases.
You sound breathless.
Why aren't we asking why 16% of COVID deaths worldwide were Americans when we're only 4% of the world population? Because the CDC
Pause it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know why?
Fucking
Because of cranks like you. Because of cranks like you saying that the vaccine wasn't safe and effective, then when we know it was a safe and effective at reducing transmission and severity, and then there were obviously variants, and we've had updated versions of that mRNA vaccine that have still protected people. And by the way, these were the vaccines greenlit by Donald Trump, the president who you now apparently serve with Operation Warp Speed, which was actually very successful, but the left would have done it differently. We wouldn't have just given billions and billions of dollars to big pharma. We would have said, okay, we'll subsidize you to research it, but we own it after.
I hate these people so much. The death in this country preceded the vaccine because our ultimate priority was not public safety, but getting people back to work so they can serve the type of people that give these people money to go spew their goddamn bullshit on CNN. How disgusting. Talking about obesity in kids, that's because of our food system, you idiot. Like, that's...
Yeah, agreed. You want to reform that? But then what? The lazy whataboutism. Pamela Brown did made a painstaking effort at the beginning of that question to say we are taking into consideration all these other things that you are throwing out there to distract from the fact that you're actually anti-vax. But can we deal with this measles outbreak where over 100 cases are now being reported between West Texas and New Mexico combined? Can we have that discussion? Oh, no, wait, another whataboutism.
Of COVID deaths worldwide were Americans when we're only 4% of the world population, because the CDC said our immune system. No, it is related, Pamela, and let me say why. Because the entire coverage of Bobby Kennedy is around measles. The Democrats said the word measles 25 times in the first hearing and said the words obesity, diabetes, and chronic disease 0 times. The HHS priority document under President Biden said the word equity 25 times, said the word vaccines.
Sorry, pause it one more second. I really get frustrated hearing people like this talk and think they should be muzzled. But just say there's a reason that measles comes up with RFK, because he has a history of lying or spewing his bullshit about vaccines that kills people. You search RFK American Samoa. He's killed kids with his bullshit.
And now it's spreading to West Texas. It's Texas State Department health data shows that the vast majority of cases are among people younger than 18. And it's mostly concentrated with kids who are unvaccinated or under-vaccinated, meaning they've maybe only had 1 dose. But keep going.
Did not say the word obesity or diabetes. There is a problem right now because this is not zero. This is zero sum. We are focused on a very small subset that's important. We need good infectious disease management. Bobby Kennedy, Dr. Offit is not correct. Bobby Kennedy has said one thing about vaccines and one thing only, that they should be studied like any other product. Dr. Offit on the ACIP committee has recommended vaccines that have ended up being
when he says they should be studied, he says that I don't trust any of the studies that have been done for decades about things like autism and vaccines. I think it needs to be studied until it confirms my biases. And you're really stupid if you can't understand that. Go ahead.
Nearly 1 in 5 incoming kindergartners in that area in Gaines County did not get the vaccine. That 18% vaccine exemption rate for the county is one of the highest in the state, according to data from the WOKES. Oh, actually, it's the Texas Department of State Health Services. So, what a coincidence that measles is outbreaking in the area that has one of the highest vaccine exemption rates in the state.
I just looked up what this guy is, what TrueMed is. TrueMed is a company that helps people use their health savings accounts and flexible spending accounts. That dumb financial bullshit is part of the reason why Americans die, is because no parasite like this idiot, Callie Means, is that his name? No parasites like him should be even involved in healthcare.
Yeah.
Doing some sort of no, it should be public insurance, publicly paid for. Not this fancy new tax scheme to get some people health care. This guy is a parasite.
But these are the anti-vaxxers. They are the people. They are basically financiers or trying to make money off of it. What happened? Wasn't RFK Jr.'s like a charitable organization taking a bunch of shady donations and it was offshore or something like that? This is a business for these people selling you snake oil. So an 18% vaccine exemption rate in this area that's getting this measles outbreak. Across the country, the national average is 4%. So it must just be a total coincidence. But keep going.
Small subsect. That's important. We need good infectious disease management. Bobby Kennedy, Dr. Offit is not correct. Bobby Kennedy has said one thing about vaccines and one thing only, that they should be studied like any other product.
That's not true.
Dr. Offit on the ACIP committee has recommended vaccines that have ended up being recalled for causing mass issues to kids. Bobby Kennedy has written multiple books, not about being anti-vax, but about having good science. And Dr. Offit is calling him anti-vaccine for literally just saying we need studies. Bobby Kennedy is not concerned with measles. He wants good policies with measles. He wants to attack the 92% of deaths in the United States, which is chronic conditions.
Measles. All right. Well,
that's a charlatan full shit. And again, like, I'm sorry to make it about CNN. Why do a capitalist who is profiting off healthcare get invested with some sort of credibility on these issues?
I mean, it's because I think he's actually an RFK Jr. advisor. I'm not sure if it's formal, but it is crazy to set it up like it's some sort of debate.
Like he's a doctor.
Not. They had, we'll play it at another time because it's a long clip, but Dr. Peter Hotez went on with Anderson Cooper, hopefully later that night, and explained it very clearly. But it's absolutely, it's devastating. And this disinformation is going to cause more high unvaccinated rates. And you can still, if your kid is vaccinated and you're doing all the right things, if this is circulating around and mutating, it still has the ability to affect your family. It really could kill kids. And this is the kind of thing that we had previously eradicated. So
this sort of thing has me back in my 2008 era, Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, scientific skepticism, F you anti-vax idiots. Like, I hate these people. These people are evil. They are attacking our civilization. They are killing kids. Again, like, there is already a record. There's already a body count associated with RFK and measles. And all these people are too chicken shit to actually acknowledge what was actually done there. It's actually, no, I didn't have a big role in that. I was just doing this. It's pushing me to the limits of acceptable broadcasting.
They're also lying about the idea that he never said anything about vaccines. He said on a podcast 2 years ago saying that he's like casting aspersions on the measles vaccine. He was caught on camera saying that that COVID was a bioweapon, bioengineered to protect Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people. I mean, it's a lunatic. And
he's saying all this stuff about, he only says this, or actually he said this and the thing. That's because every anti-vax person, including the ones watching this right now, they are chicken shits, afraid to acknowledge what they actually believe because it's fucking laughable. Because really what it is fear of needles and anxiety being glossed up as some charlatan Kennedy aristocrat gets to tell you that actually this is meaningful. It's not meaningful. And Jimmy Dore and all these other people who have fed into this stuff, I think they deserve to get. We're having this conversation about in Brazil about banning Rumble and Lula and all the free speech, like Glenn Greenwald's talking about all the threat to free speech. The Pentagon, this is a matter of public record, spread anti-vax propaganda in China. China had a right, and they were justified in doing so, suppressing that speech, because anti-vax stuff is contrary to a functioning society. And we'd be justified to do it here too.
Absolutely. And to close on this, it's just not in question. The vaccine for measles, mumps and rubella, the MMR vaccine, safe, highly effective. It was introduced in 1963, when the United States saw some 3 to 4 million cases of measles per year. Now, it's usually fewer than 200 in a normal year. But now we have over 100 cases between Texas and New Mexico right now. With that said, folks, we're going to wrap up this show and head into the weekend, which I'm very excited about. Tater tot. Remember that bald tire joke? That was wonderful. Yeah, back when we were happier. Majority Report wardrobe coordinator. Hang on, Matt. If he isn't afraid of a needle if it has heroin in it.
Or that whatever is getting those muscles so nice and big but unproductive.
Yeah, all aesthetic.
Weird ass push-ups.
Jefferson Davis Vance says CNN got Matt thinking Luigi thoughts.
Not on that front, but look at a image of RFK from just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
These people are mutants.
Yep.
They're literal medical mutants, and they're telling us that
we're unhealthy.
We're unhealthy. Okay, thanks, buddy.
Congressional baseball fan. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Elon is Timu Dr. Evil, and he got to meet Timu Austin Powers, who only gets to sleep with his sister. They both should be sent in a rocket to that moon base.
Sort of an insult to Austin Powers.
Yeah. Come on. Austin Powers is not Javier Milei.
He's an agent of the British state.
Yes, excuse me. All right, 3 more. Deep thinker. We've had the last caller of the day, week, month, year. One day there will just be the last caller. I hope it's Ronald Reagan doing an impression of Michael, doing an impression of Sam, talking about Social Security. Seth the Lit PhD. For me, Israel-Palestine views among Dems in Congress is very similar to views on Vietnam policy in the 60s and 70s. I want to support AOC, but carrying water for Biden makes her toxic in my view. I know she's a good fighter, but I can never fully trust her. That's fair.
You can never fully trust any politician in the world.
And
in world history.
Yep. And the final I am of the day, although except maybe Bernie, but
nope.
But even Bernie
said, I don't know how. Look,
he hasn't said genocide.
Bernie, worse than that, he said at the begin, like November of 2023, I don't know how you can negotiate a ceasefire with a group like Hamas.
Yeah.
That is a fucking doozy.
Yeah, that's true. The final I am of the day. I'll make it super easy. Mr. Melancholy. Enjoy your weekend, MR crew. Enjoy your weekend, Mr. Melancholy, and all of you folks over there on the other side of the screen. We really appreciate you. Thanks so much for supporting the show, and we will see you on Monday.